Well, Night of the Living Dead, and it was a Kickstarter campaign.
It was.
Why did you have to do it that way? Was it literally impossible to get financed any other way?
I didn't even try. I wanted to attempt the Kickstarter thing. At first, I was nervous because it felt like a very public way to fail, but it also felt like the upside was that it could be a very public way to succeed and get the title out there and kind of test the market to see if anyone wanted another Zom rom-com.
Was it one of those ones where the title came first? It was just such a great title, you thought?
No, actually, what came first was me writing 20 really shitty pages where it was a guy in the lead. And I was like, oh, this is bad, and I'm not interested. And then I got a friend of mine, a really great writer named Andy Seltzer, and I gave it to him and said, I think the only way to make this interesting is if it's a woman. And he got involved, and we talked about where the rest of it would go, and he just really kind of developed this hilarious character and made it interesting, I think.
Yeah, sure. So that was it. I mean, you didn't have any fears that you might not be able to actually create the zombie apocalypse on the budget you were going to get, or was that a concern?
I'm still not really sure we created the zombie apocalypse on this budget, but I always felt like scares and zombie were like number 3 in the list. I wanted it to be kind of funny first, and then romantic second, and then.
And it really is. I mean, it really does charm you off your feet, I think, by the end. So, I mean, I said to you, I think the last 20 minutes is probably some of the best sort of like, rom-com stuff I've ever seen. I just thought it was so lovely. You cry, it's charming, and the music was so great, and I just thought it really worked.
Yeah.
I thought you did a really bang-up job on doing it. Was it hard to get that balance, that level?
It was, yeah, there was a lot of massaging. What was great, since I'm my own producer, is no one was telling me, like, this needs to be finished by, X. So I would do a cut, and then I would just kind of, take a couple weeks off and be with my family and just forget about it, and then watch the cut and be like, oh, that line's terrible. Why is it even in there? And I would change things and pull things out. And my wife was great at watching it and saying, this part's lame, get rid of that, and move this here. Okay. Yes, ma'am. So she helped out. I would show it to friends and just see what the reaction was. Kind of, test it just with friends and family.
So how long a process are we talking about now? Is this like over a year or 2 years?
Yeah, about 1.5 years total.
So it was a long time to be stuck with that particular, project then.
It was, yeah. I wrote a spec kind of, while I was editing. But yeah, it was a long endeavor. And like I said, with chunks of time taken off, I would work on other things.
Like what?
I wrote a kind of a sci-fi spec for a company here in London, actually, that hopefully will be a larger budget thing if it goes.
And and that looks like promising.
It's promising. Yeah, I was paid to write the script, but we'll see if they can get all the funding together.
Okay. So Portland, Maine. I was actually watching a lot of on YouTube. You and Ray doing all the chat shows and the news progress. They love you there, obviously, because you're sort of making a big deal. Portland, Maine. Were you always going to shoot there?
Yeah, I essentially grew up in Maine, and then I was in Portland for a decade before I moved out to Los Angeles. And I always wanted to go back because I just knew that we would get free locations and very excited, non-jaded people to come be zombies or help. Or, hey, I want to cook the whole crew dinner. It's just very kind of a down home, everybody pitches in type place. So that's kind of why I went back. I just knew it would be. I knew that the excitement there would really help, which it did.
So how did you cast your Deb then? How did that happen in the end?
I didn't use a casting director. It was more like friends of friends and recommendations. And I think I met, 4 or 5 potential people just over coffee. And it was Michael Cassidy and I met Maria Thayer and just kind of laughed for 2 or 3 hours over coffee. And I was like, okay, she's perfect.
Where does she come from? Has she got credentials in this area? Is she new? Is she up and coming? What is she?
She's kind of almost like Ray Wise. She's like, oh, that person. You see their face, and you're like, how do I know them?
Right. So, how do I know her? What have I seen her in?
Strangers with Candy was kind of her first thing, which was it's kind of a cultish kind of comedic series. She was in a movie called Accepted, where they make a fake college. Nothing that, not a title I can easily.
Okay.
Like, oh yeah, but
And she was completely up for it because there's a lot that she has to do in this, really. I mean.
totally up for it. You know, it was kind of the first time that she starred in something and carried a picture, so I think she was very excited.
I mean, it helped. Their chemistry is amazing, I think.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yes.
It really, really works.
Yeah.
Because, you know, as you say in the thing, it's not really about, it's about surviving. You know, it's not about falling in love. It's actually surviving each other more or less than anything else. I mean, you always surprise me. I mean, just as when I think, where are you? You've suddenly made another movie. You know?
Right.
Then when I got your email about this one, I was really surprised. I mean, and how did it play in Fantaspoa in the end? Did it do well?
I couldn't go down because my wife was about to give birth,
Right.
but Michael Cassidy went down, and he said it was great.
And it played well.
Yeah, he said he had a really good time down there. Yeah,
So, but why do you think it is that we're still watching all this zombie stuff? I mean, I know it's not quite a zombie film, but it has got that side of it. But why are we still watching endless versions of this particular Living Dead subject?
I think zombies are great because they're just instant conflict, and it's very clear. It's great as a writer because I can have these. When Andy and I would work on the script, there's zombies outside, so they're inside. Our two characters are inside arguing, and it's just very clear the threat, and people know when they're going to watch a zombie picture. They're like, yeah, I think I know what the threat is. I know what I'm kind of getting into in a certain sense.
Were you coming from anywhere inspiration-wise? Did you still Shaun of the Dead, this, that? Did you think of anything like that? Or?
Sure, yeah. Shaun of the Dead is a big influence, and just a little bit of. All my favorite guys really. It doesn't add up that like David Lynch or David Lean, or it doesn't really make sense that I love them and I make movies like this, but I do. That's when I get a chance to. I'll watch something old or something, something unique.
And have you watched it with? I mean, will you watch it tonight, for example, with the audience, or can't you bear it anymore? Just to see the reaction.
I will, because I haven't actually seen it with. There was a main premiere that was for Kickstarter backers and cast and crew, and then an LA premiere for the same, just cast crew, and then there was Brazil, which I didn't go to. So this will be the first time I see it with a theater audience that are perfect strangers. So I won't kind of sit in the middle and check it out. I'll probably stand in the back just to gauge the reaction and see.
I think that you've got some really early advanced notices on this. I mean, people really love it. I mean, Kim Newman, Empire, loves it. Anton, people really, really go for it once it's on their radar. And we've been pushing it at people, saying you really will like this.
Yeah, that's kind of you to say. I've been surprised by the critical reaction, and because I kind of just thought people would kind of beat it up for being the scope of it being quite small and lame.
It does look a bit threadbare around the edges. Let's be honest.
Yes,
but that doesn't matter, I don't think, because it just wins you over.
Yeah, and the title's a little cheesy, so that might make certain people be like, "Oh, I don't."
But to this day, Zach and Icon keeps saying "Night of the Living Dead." Every time he says it, I said no, it's Deb.
Yeah,
and he keeps forgetting all the time. So it's one of those things. So great, we're pleased it's here. So I'm dying to see how it goes later on. So it's going to be good fun.
Me too. Yeah, I'm glad that people are responding to the positivity of it, which is what I was going for.